Commander Threxnall had seen 1,000 worlds burn. He had commanded fleets that reduced civilizations to ash, had watched species beg for mercy they would never receive. In his 3 centuries of service to the Carthion Dominion, he had learned one universal truth. Power was the only language that mattered in the galaxy. Humans, he believed, spoke a dialect far too weak to matter. The first time Threxnall encountered humanity, they seemed laughably fragile. Their ships were patchwork constructions of salvaged technology, their weapons primitive compared to Carthion plasma arrays, their bodies soft and easily broken. When the Dominion's War Council decided to annex the human colonies in the outer reaches, Threxnall volunteered eagerly. It would be, he assured his subordinates, a brief and profitable campaign. He was right about it being brief. He was catastrophically wrong about everything else. The attack on the mining colony of New Hebron was meant to be a demonstration. The Dominion would strike hard, take what they wanted, and leave the humans cowering. Threxnall watched from his command deck as his forces descended upon the small settlement, expecting the usual pattern: panic, surrender, subjugation. Instead, he watched miners, civilians with cutting tools and industrial equipment, hold his trained warriors at bay for 6 hours. They turned ore processors into improvised cannons, rigged explosive charges from mining supplies, and fought with a ferocity that left his officers stunned. When reinforcements finally overwhelmed the colony, Threxnall found himself staring at the casualty reports in disbelief. 73 Carthion soldiers dead, against miners. "They're feral," his second-in-command had muttered. "Like wounded predators." Threxnall dismissed the concern. Desperation made any species dangerous, but desperation faded. Fear endured. He would learn how wrong he was. 3 weeks later, the human response came, not as a plea for negotiation, not as a surrender. It came as a single transmission broadcast across every Dominion frequency. A woman's face appeared on his view screen, human, with dark hair pulled back severely, eyes that held an unsettling calm. "I am Captain Evelyn Ward of the Terran Defense Coalition," she said, her voice carrying no threat, no anger. "Just certainty. You have attacked our people. You have killed our families. You believe us weak because we value life, because we prefer peace." She paused, and Threxnall saw something in her expression that made his scales prickle. "You're about to learn the difference between preferring peace and being incapable of war." The transmission ended. Threxnall had laughed, though the sound felt hollow even to his own ears. 48 hours later, 3 Dominion outposts went silent simultaneously. When Threxnall sent scout ships to investigate, they found structures reduced to molten slag, defensive positions dismantled with surgical precision. No survivors, no wreckage of human ships, just silence. The humans were hunting them. Captain Ward's forces moved like ghosts through the outer reaches. They struck supply convoys with devastating efficiency, turned asteroid fields into ambush zones, and displayed an understanding of asymmetric warfare that no Dominion tactician had anticipated. But it wasn't just their tactics that unnerved Threxnall. It was their refusal to stop. Carthion doctrine relied on overwhelming force to break enemy morale. Once a species understood they couldn't win, they surrendered. Humans didn't surrender. They adapted. Every defeat taught them. Every loss made them more dangerous. Threxnall realized with growing horror that humanity didn't fight wars to win territory or resources. They fought wars to end them, permanently. The turning point came at the Battle of Epsilon Ridge. Threxnall had assembled a fleet of 40 warships, determined to crush the human resistance once and for all. Intelligence suggested Ward commanded no more than 12 vessels, outgunned and outmatched. When the battle began, Threxnall understood why ancient Earth predators had feared the dark. Ward's ships didn't engage in traditional formation combat. They swarmed, using the debris field and solar radiation to mask their movements. Human pilots flew with a recklessness that defied survival instinct, ramming damaged ships into Dominion cruisers, sacrificing themselves to create openings for their comrades. But it was what happened in the battle's final moments that shattered everything Threxnall thought he knew about warfare. Ward's flagship, battered and burning, emerged from a debris cloud on a collision course with Threxnall's dreadnought. Every weapon system was firing. Every remaining fighter launched in a desperate assault. Threxnall ordered evasive maneuvers, but he knew it was too late. The humans had accepted their own destruction to ensure his. Then Ward did something impossible. At the last moment, her ship veered away, crippled but intact. A transmission came through, her face bloodied but unbowed. "I could have killed you, Commander," she said quietly. "All of you. But we're not like you. We don't murder unless we must. We don't destroy unless given no other choice." Her eyes held his across the void of space. "Withdraw. Leave our space. Never return, because if you force us to become the monsters you believe we are, there won't be enough of you left to remember why you were afraid." Threxenal's hand hovered over the weapons console. One command would end this. But he found himself frozen, staring at this human who had shown mercy when victory was hers. The Dominion withdrew. In the War Council chambers, Threxenal filed his report, but he knew his words were inadequate. How could he explain that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or tactics? It was their choice, their conscious decision to remain civilized even when savagery would have been easier. Years later, Threxenal would think about Captain Evelyn Ward and the terrible, beautiful fury of humanity. They had shown the galaxy something far more frightening than weapons or warships, a species that could unleash absolute destruction but chose restraint, that could fight with primal rage but never lose their souls. He had thought humans were weak because they valued life. He had been wrong about everything.